Guys, welcome to the fourth annual Creative Strategy Summit. I have actually spoken at this every single year for the last 4 years, and it's such an honor, but I'm going to keep it so real with you guys. This is probably one of the hardest years that I've personally had as a creative strategist. I've been making ads for over 10 years, and this year I've never felt more imposter syndrome than I've had because the industry just seems to be moving at such a rapid pace. So if you've also felt this way, I really cannot emphasize that you are not alone. Something that I've noticed every single year is that since this role has been adopted onto growth teams, the expectations have grown bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's so ironic, right? Because this role didn't even really exist on growth teams a few years ago. So today we're going to talk about the Creative Strategist new playbook, right? And I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. This is not some AI mic drop brand new methodology moment. Although it would probably be a lot more popular if I did. But this year has really been about returning back to the basics to me and honestly stepping back from a lot of the noise. Now, if you guys have seen me speak before, you know that I love to do a little ad challenge. So I am showing you some ads from a client of mine, and I want you to guess which ad you think performed best, A or B. These are pretty different, but I want to see in the chat which one you think performed best. I see a few B's, a few A's, maybe a little bit more on the B side. Interesting. And I will say too, when I say perform best, we are talking about revenue. We are talking about that performance. A for sure. Feel like we're leaning a little bit more on the B side. So I'm going to give you guys a spoiler alert. When I was reviewing my last 90 days motion report, these two ads actually had the exact same amount of spend. However, B was actually the one that was launched just a few weeks ago. So if you said B, you're in good company. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Dara, and I am so excited to meet you. I have had the honor of working with so many amazing brands in my career. Also, this picture of me is in California. I'm also in LA right now. I am a New Yorker. So I have seen a lot of you guys in New York and in Brooklyn in particular, and you guys have a special space in my heart. Now, I always like to say that these days, I have 3 jobs. Number one, this is actually pretty new. I recently partnered up with a small boutique agency with my business partner, a really good friend, Miguel, so that I can work with a range of brands again. This is something that I really love doing. We have amazing clients, and I actually think we have room for one more brand for the rest of the year. So if you are interested in getting us to look at your performance creative or your media buying, be sure to reach out because we'd love to do an audit for you. Now, I'm also a content creator. I actually spent so much time making content this year, and it is my number one passion to provide education to creative strategists. And that's exactly what I do on my YouTube channel. I just hit 100K this year. I'm pretty proud of that. But it's honestly a testament to you guys and to this community. I really cannot thank you enough. And like Evan said, I'm Chief Evangelist at Motion. I've been working with Motion since the beginning, and they are real champions of this role. And it's just such an obvious partnership for me. And I really love everyone at that team. Like I said, guys, who else felt like 2025 was such a funky year for creative strategy, for performance? It's rough out there. I always hear, and I think I might have heard it a little bit on the previous panel, the expectation that people have of creative strategists is to make ads that convert. But the reality of what this actually looks like is so much more involved, right? I get asked multiple times a week, hey, do you know of a great creative strategist? Do you know of someone that can help our campaigns? And it's ironic because there's so much potential with this career, and there's so many people that need it. But I also think there's a lot of the dissatisfaction with creative strategists. And if you've ever hired creative strategists, it's one of the hardest roles to hire for. So something that I really want to talk about today is this new creative strategy playbook. And like I said, this isn't some new methodology. This is actually more of a testament to what it takes to succeed in this role, and how teams need to make sure they are setting up their creative strategists for success, because I think that it's only going to get wilder in 2026. And then we're going to jam on some more ads, because honestly, I just want to hang out and talk about some cool ads with you guys. So that's how we're going to end today. So let's dive into this. Now, something that I am really passionate about is providing the right type of training to creative strategists. And something that I'm revamping right now for my own team is this curriculum. You need to make sure that you are training your creative strategists up on every single one of these 12 points, right? Cody mentioned earlier, you need to train them up on consumer psychology. You need to make sure that they understand key human desires and motivators, and how people are actually motivated to take action and ultimately purchase. You also need to make sure that they are well-versed in upcoming and traditional formats. Creative diversity and variety is one of the biggest factors in performance right now, and something like that is really, really important. Another thing too that I know that the previous panel hit on as well is this idea of project management and the creative project lifecycle. Now, if you're a creative strategist, you know that it takes hundreds of decisions to actually make an ad creative, right? And if you're looking at this and you're like, I can't see these, that's the point. There are so many decisions it takes to make a creative. It's really hard to calculate, right? So let's zoom in on one of these, right? So this is the part of the process where you're onboarding and you're starting to get familiarized with a brand or a client or a product. Let's zoom in on research, right? Because what's funny is when I had developed this process before, I had research as a single line item. But the ironic thing is that this is actually what I meant by research. These are all of the points that you need to be researching to actually formulate a long-term, in-depth creative strategy. Things like a reputation analysis, things like actual business metrics, customer review mining. And what this really showed me is that there are so many hidden expectations of creative strategists that sometimes we will say something like, hey, go out and do research. And really, that is a 7-step, 8-hour-long process that is not being accounted for, which is why our creative strategy teams are really struggling. Something that I hear all the time is, oh, the creative strategist is the bridge for the growth team, right? I'm saying in 2026, no more. This is not the best way for us to succeed anymore. I think that the ideal best performance creative teams now are going to look a little bit more like this. And it is very much in response to how much work and process actually goes in to making ad creative. Let's go through these one by one. And if you're freaking out and you're like, oh my God, I'm a creative strategist team of one, or I'm a founder and I have one creative strategist, how can I expect to have a 6-person team? This is not the expectation that you need to have all of these, but you do need to make sure that someone is owning these different parts of the process. And I see Jaden there being like, thank you for affirming. Yes, this job is so hard. But when you're able to step back and say, hey, you need someone who's a creative strategy lead, who's going to set the standard, who's going to be able to look at ad creative and say, this is a good ad, this is a piece of shit ad. You need someone to do that. Sometimes that's going to be the founder in the early days. But if you don't have someone that's owning that taste, it's going to be a struggle. Another really important part of this process, right, is you need someone to actually manage and develop this creative process. This is honestly my weakness. This is something that I am not very good at. And I would venture to say that a lot of creatives maybe don't flourish as much in this. But if you're developing 20 to 30 or more ads per week, it is vital that you have someone that is managing this process, right? Next one, in-house creator. I think that every single brand needs to start bringing on in-house creators into this creative strategy process. These people are going to represent the brand as a user or persona. They might be doing a little bit of organic content, but being able to have this type of role and being able to spin off and make creative on the fly has honestly been a massive, massive unlock. Now, when you start to scale as a brand, right, in order to increase that volume, you're going to be able to add new in-house creators, maybe to represent a different persona, new video editors to supply this volume. And maybe if you're agency side, you're even dividing off your creative project manager into a post-production manager so that they're managing video editors and designers. And then you have another creative project manager to manage more of the creative strategists in that workflow. And you can also add more creative strategists. But guys, this process is no joke. And I cannot emphasize that 9 out of 10 times when I talk with brands and I talk with agencies and they think it's something about the creative strategist or the creative strategist isn't doing the right work, it's actually a failure of process. And I cannot emphasize enough why this is so important now. Maybe some people in the room have heard of a little thing called Andromeda, the new Facebook ad algorithm that everyone seems to be talking about right now. Part of the reason why this is so important, it's so important to have your process dialed in now, is because this algorithm actually targets people based on their unique personas. So the algorithm is grouping people into individual groups. And the way that you are going to really be able to succeed now with your creative strategy is by creating unique creative ecosystems with creative diversity for each of these unique personas, which means that the volume, the demand for creative strategists is going to be even bigger. So if you are a creative leader and you've thought at any point like, oh, I just don't know if my creative strategists are getting it this year, I implore you to take a look at your training and see if you're actually supporting these people in the right way. I implore you to look at your process and your team and make sure that you've actually identified the people who are owning these key parts of your process, right? Let's change gears a little bit, right? I'm going to get off my soapbox of this process thing because I actually just like really want to jam on ads with you guys for the rest of this. Let's go back to this piece of creative, right? I'm not going to lie, when my team first showed this to me, my amazing team at PGM, they created this. I was like, listen, I don't know about this. Like, I want more storytelling. I want to get a creator in there. But they actually did so much research in order to get to here. And it was really, really impressive, the choices that we made to come to this winning creative, right? Number one, when we were looking through our reputation analysis, specifically on Reddit, we saw that people were calling out colorful bedding and colorful sheets. They weren't using like Instagram cool girl language, like aesthetic and like, you know, whatever, like they're saying, like they were just using straight to the point language. And we were like, okay, cool. Like, let's try that. Another thing too, is like when we were looking at the makeup of their ad creative before, a lot of it was super product aware. So they were using lots of testimonials from customers who already bought. They were showcasing a lot of their new product launches. And we knew that their ads were already converting pretty well for this further down in the funnel. But we needed to go a lot higher. And if we could simply open up that top of funnel, then we were going to be able to really get a lot better performance without a ton of legwork. And this was also a factor of us looking into the creative audit and the creative testing methodology that they were using in their ad account. They were using a little bit of an older style setup, you know, tofu, mofu, bofu. And we thought, you know, really tofu is where we are lacking. So let's inject there. Now, another thing that we'll definitely share with you guys after this is a standard operating procedure that we like to do at the agency called the Viral Ads SOP. This is something that my business partner, Miguel, developed. And this is actually the ad creative that, or this is the TikTok that was inspiration for our ad. And essentially the TLDR on this process is you want to go out and look for keywords on TikTok and Instagram for your niche and find the content that has really high views but a low follower ratio. So you want to see the type of content that's picking up a lot of steam from creators that aren't as big. And when we saw this type of format, we thought, okay, like, I think we have something here with this. So even though this seems really, really simple, this is something that we were able to get a lot of traction out of and get some winners from. And God, this is just such a fun brand. I love working with them. So are you guys ready for another challenge? I see quite a few people still chatting in the messages. God, I love you guys. The creative strategy community is elite. Let's do another ad challenge, okay? And one, I'm going to forewarn you, is an image. Another is a video. So we're going to hop in and I'm going to give you guys a full 90 seconds to ingest these, right? So that you can really take it in and decide which one you think is the winner, right? So we have A over here, and then I am going to play B right now. So pay attention, but I'll give you a little bit of extra time to read A as well.
So I have tried every bone broth on the market, every single flavor and every single broth. I can hand on heart tell you that nothing tastes like this. This actually tastes like beef and chicken. I don't know what they do with the other stuff, but it tastes like nothing. And I think, why? Every other bone broth on the market is genuinely rubbish. Sorry, everyone. Whereas this is, it's woman magic in a glass. The real difference lies in absolutely the quality of our ingredients. This product's made from just the best of the best. I mean, our chicken, free range, organic bones, simmered, for so long, then down into liquid and then into a powder or into our concentrates. I mean, you just don't get that kind of care and that kind of sourcing with anything else. We got nutrition covered, and I feel like actually that's what we do. You just worry about one less thing because you add this and you think, okay, at least I'm getting.
Okay, so if you said B, you're correct. I tried to pause it so that I could interact with you guys a little bit more. Yes, B was the winner here. I think there's a lot going on for both of these, but I do just want to call out, because I saw a few of you saying, hey, no one's going to read that text. It's too overwhelming. It doesn't work. What I will say, hint, hint, for Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up, this was actually their top performing sales ad. So we ran a few sales with them earlier this year, and this crushed it. And it's absolutely something that we will be repeating for Q4. So, just a little hint that I think, we attempted this one for the more evergreen, and that absolutely didn't work, but I thought it was kind of cool that we were able to get a lot of traction out of it on the sales portion. So let's go back to this one, right? This is actually, every time we have a winning ad, what I'll do is I'll create one of these slides so that the brands just have like a slide deck of all their top performers and the testing criteria. So like the hypothesis we going into it, and then the analysis. These hook rates are pretty incredible on the winner ad, right? 52% hold rate of a 9%. Now, the things that were really unique about this ad creative, number one, it was super important for us to disclose that this person was the founder. Sometimes I hear other creative strategists say something like, you don't need to introduce yourself as the founder. No one cares. No one gives a shit. Actually, people really, really cared for this brand. It was really important to that storyline. Another thing that we were really pressure testing here was this idea around taste. Every time we did research for this brand, they were saying that the number one objection or concern was around taste. So in this ad, you'll see that she really focuses on taste and how it compared to others in the market. So I know you guys probably don't remember the first sentence, but she really compares to everything else that's in the market. And that was really important for this framing as well. Now, something that I always like to do too for these is I like to highlight, hey, like, what else should we pressure test from this learning? And from this, we decided, we want to test other founder ads for other products because they have a ton of products, and taste has been a big learning for us, unsurprisingly. Some of the things that were bigger question marks that would require bigger swing tests would be things like, maybe we should try looking at the different types of product packaging. Like maybe that is doing something here in the ads, because we kept on getting a lot of comments around the metal can versus glass can and the ingredients. And this really opened us up for more of an ingredients angle. So, I would suggest that for creative strategists, I used to try doing this for every single ad creative. No one has time for that. But if you have a winner, if you have a banger, if you are learning something from ad creative, I really suggest, making these little slides and these little learnings. These things are so helpful to refer back to. You guys want to do one more? Let's do one more, right? And then we can do some Q&A. We can jam a little bit with each other. And I am going to just actually show you the hook of two. So let's go ahead, take a look at these. And I'm excited because these ones are really, really different. All right, so I'm going to play A, and then I'm going to play B.
So I've been using this bone broth concentrate for a while now, and today I really wanted to compare it to Kettle and Fire's bone broth.
Ooh, got a little bit of a comparison angle there. Spicy, right?
I threw a spoonful of this into my noodles, and my husband swore I picked up takeout.
I threw a spoonful of this into my noodles, and my husband swore I picked up takeout. Which one do we think? I see a more evenly dispersed amount this time. Lots of B's, though. Probably a little bit more B's. But the A people feel strongly, right? And I love when you guys are like trying to be really smart about it, like, oh, it's top of funnel, or oh, it sounds more scripted, the packaging, yada, yada. A, C, I appreciate a comparison. It was B, guys. Let's talk about why this one was the ultimate winner for us, right? There are a few really cool things going on at play here. And this was a pretty big learning for us, right? Number one, do not discount the power of personal storytelling, right? I threw a spoonful of this into my noodles, and my husband swore I picked up takeout. We also have this really niche desire, the husband loving the meal. Being able to like feed and fuel and connect with the people that we love, so important, so powerful. And for our persona, or one of our core personas, their family is everything to them. So this was something that was really strategic on our part. Another thing too, that I think has been a big learning for me personally this year is by injecting curiosity into your ad creative, right? I threw a spoonful of this into my noodles, and I got this result that I wanted, that connects deep to my heart. What is this, right? When we compare these two, I also like to look at it from the lens of which one is providing most curiosity, right? So I've been using this bone broth concentrate, and it's like, okay, great. You like gave away the plot, right? But with this hook of I threw a spoonful of this into my noodles, and I got this result that I desperately wanted and needed as a part of my core human desire. When we can inject more of this curiosity and more of this targeted desire-based things that we need into the hook, like this really, really moves the needle for ad creative. So, you can take this, this formula. You did this to get this desire. That's one way that you can do this. Okay, this is one of my most favorite ads that I've seen all year. Here's another great way to drive curiosity, right? Watch this ad with me. I hope you love as much as I mean, that's hilarious. But having a strong emotional reaction is something that is also going to provide curiosity. If you've ever, for all my girlies out there, if you're on beauty TikTok ever, some of these beauty curators will like yell at you. They will have these strong reactions. And that's super strategic on their part. It really does drive a lot of curiosity. It like hits at the core human part of you. So, even doing that in the hook is something that can really move the needle. And then another way you can inject this curiosity is by saying a conflicting statement. And oh my God, Erin, I see your comment. Why are they both about impressing a man? Honestly, I need to rethink this presentation after this. That's hilarious. I didn't even notice that. But this Cheers ad has a really great formula. And we've done this a few times and seen success out of it. So I'm going to show you the hook here.
Contrary to popular belief, alcohol is not actually toxic. And today I'm going to prove it to you by bathing in it. I'm going to explain to you why.
So contrary to popular belief, alcohol is not actually toxic. That is something that stops me. And then we have this other example here. POV, you're lactose intolerant, but you don't act like it. So you have these conflicting statements, right? And particularly these two on the end, what they're doing is really pushing in to what is called cognitive dissonance. So it's this psychological discomfort that happens when a person's belief and information don't match, right? So when you press up against that in your ads, the brain has to pay attention, either to reject new info, rationalize it, or change its belief. But even when you are just inviting more of that curiosity, especially when you're tying it with a core human desire, you're going to make your customers' brains crave resolution. And users are going to stay longer to complete that loop, right? Now, I showed you a few examples of how to do this, but actually my favorite way to find examples of this is honestly on YouTube. I think YouTubers are the best at getting that curiosity and driving the click. The cool thing about YouTube is it's an opt-in platform. Like when you are on TikTok, or on Reels, honestly, and God forbid, Twitter, my goodness, you just have content that is shown to you and you don't really have a choice. YouTube is very different in that you actually have to get the click first, which is why I love looking at it for inspiration for ads. And one of my favorite YouTubers right now, David Frigomini, he makes amazing content on e-commerce. I love this video that he did, Dumb Content Strategy That Made Us Millions. Only 22K subscribers right now. He's going to get to 100K this year, but over 100K views. And it's like psychologically what's happening here. This is a dumb content. How could a content strategy be dumb but make you millions? Like, does that mean it's easy? Does that mean that anyone can do it? Immediate click in, right? So for those of you that aren't obsessed with YouTube like me, and you're a creative strategist, definitely take a look at what you're clicking on next time. Now, guys, this is the part of the presentation where I am supposed to tie everything up with a nice bow and send you on your way. And honestly, I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for jamming with me on some ads today. And creative strategists, honestly, it's the number one role that brands are hiring for right now. There is so much opportunity for people to exceed and excel in this career. And I just honestly really want to help you on your way and jam with more of you. So be sure to follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube. But yeah, thanks for hanging, y'all. Thank you. Oh.
Round of applause. Throw your emojis in the chat for how you're feeling after that. I know I got the big heart hands up there. Killed it, Dara. So thankful for you coming up and talking about all these different ad strategies.
Oh, I appreciate it. I love this community so much. And like, I can't emphasize, it's been a year, y'all. Like it really, really has. And if you are feeling the pressure, like I am too, I am right there with you. And it wasn't some like big AI or methodology that like got me out of it. It was just like taking a step back, returning to basics, doing some amazing like work with my clients and like just taking a damn breath. So
Everybody go to the Q&A tab, upvote, 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 and get your questions in there. Dara, I'm actually going to kick us off because I saw questions in the chat and then some other ones in the Q&A start to pop up, mainly around like just like the titles that you had shown, because people feel ways when they start to see titles. So the first part that I saw was someone was asking about like creative directors and executive creative directors in that role.
Oh, yeah.
So in your version of the org chart, do they fall into that? Is it a supporting function? Any words that you have there?
Yeah. So traditionally, I would say that creative directors are actually on a different team. They are traditionally going to be on like a brand marketing team, right? Because creative directors are going to be in charge of creating the brand universe. So they like, to simplify it, they're creating the brand and like everything that the brand stands for and like the symbols that are associated with it, while the creative strategists are more about developing the creative for paid social. So it's like very two different parts of the brain for me. They're both still absolutely creative. And this isn't to say that the way that I'm explaining it is the one and only right way. It's absolutely not. There's a lot of interchangeable titles out there. And sometimes too, like I will hear people say a performance creative director. Like I was a performance creative director in one of my last roles. So it's really more about making sure that you have alignment and knowing which team is like that creative director is supporting. Is it just growth? Is it for the growth team or is it for the brand marketing team?
Huge. And then Dara, bouncing off of that, like that's speaking to higher level role in the organization. One of the other questions that popped up is from Marianne. So I'll bring it up on screen here.
Yeah. Are
So
scriptwriters still part of the team? Yeah, this is a great question. Sometimes I find that like is a copywriter, like I think is like another term for this. I'll be honest, I have not been on a ton of teams where they have had copywriters. When I was working for a 9-figure brand last year, they had a copywriter that serviced the entire brand, and she would do like a once over okay on copy. But traditionally, I do find that creative strategists tend to do a lot of the actual copywriting for ads because they understand the platform the best. And traditional copywriters that are across email and website and so many other things like don't quite speak social, and it's like really, really important that you speak social and you speak to your like core customer persona or user group using like the vernacular that's on Reels and TikTok and whatnot.
100%. And I will say, Marianne, if you are a scriptwriter or copywriter right now, and that's the primary focus of your job, like take this as inspiration of like how it can start to grow and what your career could look like when we're talking about what creative strategy is. So there's a lot of synergies that start to come to life.
Yeah. And I'd say too, like I have hired copywriters or like people who were copywriters in previous roles as a creative strategist, and they were fabulous. So it's, a lot of it is just like politics at like the agency or brand that you're at. But like, you know, I've hired a lot of creative strategists, and like I've had amazing ones that started off as copywriters, video editors, traditional creative directors, even creators. There's so many different pathways to this like role. Like I was a media buyer at first, and typically, I don't see media buyers always make the best creative strategists. Sometimes, maybe that's a hot take. Sorry, don't shoot the messenger. But yeah, you know, whatever.
We should talk more than that, but I have to make the people happy and get to some of these questions because they got a bunch of upvotes.
Oh,
I will say, our chat is so funny. I think I saw Brian say in the chat when you were going through your examples, he would guess, and he's like, oh for 3 now. Damn it, got them all wrong. So seeing some of the interactions are cracking me up. Oh my gosh.
But you know what? I saw someone, they were like, these were a little easy. And I was like, oh, okay. I just think honestly, creative strategists, like, I think that there's so much more education. There's, you know, this is one of the roles that I feel like we've just developed so quickly as like an entire group. And like, I feel like people weren't talking about human psychology and levels of awareness and like desires like 2 years ago. So like, if you were already thinking about that, like you're ahead, and like, good for you, like as it should be.
That's facts. That is facts. Dara, the next question I see is from Sophie, and it's one of the questions that we've actually gotten so much as we've done all of these
Mm.
events. But for everyone here, how do you balance between metrics and brand values and storytelling?
Yeah, I love this question because I actually think the general consensus is turning more towards brand right now. I attend a lot of events with Meta, and I attended two over the last month, the Meta Agency Summit and the Meta Brand Summit. And the number one term that was brought up over and over again was not performance, wasn't AI, thank God. I was so tired of those. It was culture. And I think that it is really interesting how much brands are now starting to tune into how they are like communicating with culture and how they are becoming a part of that culture. And I think that is like a really undefined thing in a way. Like I'm saying culture, what does that mean? Like it's, how people are showing up, how people are coming together on social, especially in the organic sense, and how art is like transforming in this time. It's so, but I'll give you a more tactical answer too. Like, how do I manage brand versus metrics? Like, I think that I'm starting to take the stance too of like making decisions on creative when there isn't necessarily a great data reason to do so. You need to take bigger swings right now. And one of the most dangerous things that I've seen before is brands getting to this iteration paralysis where all of their creative starts to look like one another in the name of data and in the name of doubling down on their learnings. And that's actually one of the most dangerous places that you can be. So like, really being able to be reactive to the platform and being in tune with what's going on social and in culture, I think is actually one of the bigger, softer skills that people need to develop right now.
So Dara, this is so interesting when we're talking about culture. Another word that I've heard come up a bunch in these first two sessions is taste. And I think some of the chatter that's happening in the Q&A and the chat is all around like taste, like what's going on there. I'm curious, how would you say that you've developed and honed your taste?
By making really shitty ads. Like, I think that I didn't come out making amazing creative from the get. I was actually just looking at some of my first ads that I ever made recently. And I was like, I was going to show them on this presentation. I was like, but you know what? I better not. I don't want to ruin my reputation. But yeah, I think too, a great exercise that I now do almost every single day is, and this is something I learned from Oren John. He's a friend. He's another amazing creator. You guys need to follow him. He's so good. But he made like an offhand tweet like 3 months ago that like somehow stuck with me. But what he does is he says that you need to force yourself as a creative person to look at content and to look at things happening and force yourself to decide whether or not it's good or bad. Sometimes I am, a recovering people pleaser. Maybe I'm too empathetic. Maybe I'm, I try to be a little wishy-washy. I try to see both sides, but it is a really good exercise as a creative person to look at the content you ingest and look at what's happening in the world and say, is this good or is this bad? It's a really great training exercise to develop your taste.
I love it so much. It's so funny how like those one-off tweets or someone just like throws at the wall. It's like, holy shit, that's so profound.
Yeah. So when it does, I'm like, oh my goodness. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. One of the other questions that I'm seeing pop up here becomes more tactical. So when we're speaking about this and building out teams, there was so much chatter around like I am the team. So this question kind of like springboards off of that in my mind. So Ferris asks, still wondering how you work with small budgets. Lots of strategies depend on testing, but for that you need enough budget. No? Any thoughts you have here, Dara?
You just don't need as much budget to make amazing content as you used to. Like, oh my goodness. I first started running Meta ads for my own brand. I was a founder. Not many people know this about me. And once a month, I would hire a videographer, I would rent out an Airbnb, and I would hire like a 5-person team to like do an entire photo shoot. I like think about this now and I'm like, oh my gosh, like the bar for making great content is just so much lower in terms of, it's lower in terms of like money and resources, but I think it's higher for creativity and just like having the balls, you know, which is why I think that, you know, if you have a smaller budget, forcing yourself to really be a part of that production process and making that content is one of the best things that you can do. And if you cannot do it because you are a founder and you are already doing a ton of shit and you're like, I barely even have time to eat, I get it. That's why hiring an in-house creator would be a really good first initial move. And something that always surprises people is they think, oh, hiring an in-house creator, I'm going to be spending like 6 figures and it's going to be a whole thing. It actually can be a lot more cost effective. My team has worked with brands that have been able to hire in-house creators that make, you know, 1 to 2 pieces of content per day on TikTok. And they're paying anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 per month for these people, which is just a lot more digestible than what you would think. So yeah, I understand though, because like, the question with smaller budgets is where do you concentrate? And I would say the best place to concentrate is just like making sure that you get that content and trying to let other things play by the wayside.
The chat's going crazy. It's just like, this is such a good discussion. This is super helpful. So it makes a lot of sense. Dara, I want to take a step in altitude a bit up. I think I can take this question a couple different ways here. So the question is how do you navigate creative burnout in an industry that demands constant reinvention?
Was this person in my last therapy session? like damn. How do I navigate it? It's I don't navigate it well, if I am being really honest. I feel a ton of pressure in this industry as a woman, as the nature of who I am, as someone who makes content on YouTube, to show up and say the brand new amazing thing all the time. Like that is my heart on the table, something I really, really struggle with. And I think that for creative people, especially for women in this industry who I think are, you know, so empathetic and like really trying to dig in and get those results and like understand the customer and do right by everyone. Damn, it's so hard. So like, I just want to say that. And if you struggle with that, maybe we should just like start a support group for each other. But some things that I have done that have helped a lot is hiring help for myself and really having this mantra set around team. Sometimes I also think that I get stuck up and having to do things myself, which is a big reason why I wanted to partner with Miguel this year. You know, I had been working with Miguel, my business partner, for like 5 years. He actually edited my first YouTube videos, but you know, over the years, like, I'm like, man, like he really understands growth. He's getting these amazing results. And like, he was really the numbers brain to like my creative brain. And I was like, we need to partner with each other, man. And like the client results speak for themselves. Like they're really happy. I'm really happy. And it's just about not going at it alone. I also hired an amazing EA. So if you are like a creative person, don't answer emails. Like that's like a big learning I have. I get lost in like the Slack email sauce and it kills me. So yeah, hire out someone else to do that.
Tara, this is the definition of community. Like, first of all, thanks for being so vulnerable. Second of all, shout out to the women who are here with us, like kicking it, enjoying this community. And third of all, let's throw some love in the chat. It's one of those ones for sure. Like, this is the vulnerability piece of how real this gets. So I love it, Dara. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
It feels weird jumping back into the tactical after that because like I love keeping it at that layer. But the question that has popped up is the number one.
Yeah, let's how to play in the without making your account. Oh Lord. The interesting thing, right, is like how to play into Meta's current algorithms without making your account seem unstable. So I will actually take a step back and Matthew, I wish my therapist could answer that one too. Me also. That's hilarious. I would say something that I've had a lot of reframing around with the current algorithm is the shift to more persona-based thinking. And this is something that actually Cody and I talked about in our ad spend episode a lot, which was being able to define the core groups of people that you're speaking to and developing unique creative around them has really been the thing that has been sustaining the ad accounts that I'm working on recently. But I think too, like what's important is like identify like the amount of volume and output that you need, identify the customers that you're reaching out to, and making sure that you are uniquely making content for those individuals. And the easiest way to do that is with amazing creator content and like partnering with those right creators so you can tap into those audiences. I know that there was like the partnership ads underline. I want to underscore it again here too. You're not going to make it into 2026 if you are not partnering with amazing creators. And I do have a new ad spend episode coming out in a week or two with Caraway, which is a huge brand, and they actually showed how they work with creators. And a hint that I'll give you guys is about that in-house creator piece, and how important that is to sustaining that long-term results and performance on the platform. And you don't have to hire someone and put them on salary right away. It could be as easy as, I see that creator crushes it for us, we're going to put them on retainer. So there's many ways that this can work, but you need to figure that part out, is my gentle nudge.
Persona starting place sounds great though. Like I think being able to start there is the right foundation. Everybody, we probably have time for a couple more questions, so keep upvoting, keep getting those in. The next highest upvoted question here makes me think that there's a lot of people who are just starting out. So George or Jorge, how should I test creatives for a new brand with no followers and tight budgets? And I might personally add to this of like, should they run ads? Like, is that the first step for them? Like, how do you think about this?
Oh, that's a good question. I think you have a decision to make, I think, as a founder or as someone in the early stages of a brand like this, which is, are you ready to get on camera and yap and like, really try it out on short form video? If yes, then that is where I suggest you start. And this is actually something I'm going through. I'm starting my own brand over the next few months. More to come on that. Very excited. But I'm now actually trying to decide like, do I want to like document that whole thing like on the brand account that I'm starting? Like maybe, probably. Or if not, the other place I would start if you are really intent on doing ads is, okay, get your product into the hands of creators. I'd say 2 or 3. It's not going to be that costly. And then get like a creative OS and get those amazing creative templates and make 50 ads, dump it into an ASC, and see what rises to the top from that. I wish I could say, yeah, just use AI to make the whole thing. And it's like, let's settle on that a little bit. Like there's place for it, but like I personally, for my brand, like I'm using Creative OS to like do those that product testing. I know the guys earlier were talking about testing out new products before the product exists. I'm doing that too. And I'm primarily just like using templates, doing some short form video. It's the best place to start.
I love it, Dara. Sneaking in the sneak peeks too, so it's just perfect, setting the stage for later and everything that's going on.
Some Easter eggs,
A little some. Add the sauce to it.
Yeah.
Dara, the next question that I'm seeing here is about process from Matthew. So how do you create documents and SOPs on the creative process?
Yeah, Miguel does them because I'm a creative person. But there are a ton of different ways that you can do this. And I would actually say like the easiest way to do it is next time you are doing a process, simply do a Loom video of yourself doing it. Actually, like a big learning that I had, because like I have all these documents, right? And I was showing them to Miguel and like these templates for doing creative research. And I was like, this is what I do. Like, why is this not enough? And he's like, no. You need to explain why you are doing this. You need to really walk through these processes step by step, and explain your methodology here. And I was like, wow, okay. So like, I would say, like, pretend like you are sitting with someone at a cafe and you are showing them how to do something. I've actually sat down with my partner before and been like, I'm going to show you how I do creative strategy research. And it was the number one way that I was able to see how I actually did something. So create those looms, sit someone down and show them how you do a thing. And that is the actual process documentation. And then put it in Notion. We put everything in Notion.
Nice. Okay, Dara, we probably have time for one more here. I'll bring one up that I might have an opinion on too. So it's from Charlie that's been upvoted here. So Charlie asks, how can you apply strategies and learnings from B2C ads to B2B, specifically something like tasty versus intangible software?
Yeah. Man, I really hear you, like, I hear the B2B people out. I also hear it a lot from service-based businesses. They're like, you do great ads examples for products, but like, what about us? I think that's like actually a signal of like what an amazing opportunity you have for like using these strategies, because so many B2B brands aren't doing them. I think it all goes back to the actual like benefit and desire that your product actually does, right? So like, if I look at motion as like a piece of B2B software, because it's like, what desires are you guys actually hinting? Like, what desires are you actually fulfilling? And it could be, I'm able to make more ads for my meta ads because I can read the data better or whatever. But it's actually maybe a little bit more about confidence and like sharing those learnings across different teams and feeling like a more unified whole. And those things are definitely not as tangible, but they're so powerful. And being able to really speak to that kind of those kind of desires with creators is the number one best thing. Like, I actually think a lot of people have called this out. Like, Claude is doing an excellent like campaign right now, and being able to see how they're working with creators. Pay attention to these AI brands, because they got money to spend and they're doing all the creative testing for us. So that's my hint right there.
For sure. No, Dara hit it nail on the head, in all honesty. And even like going back a couple questions, starting with your personas that then layer into like the desires and pain, like it starts to compound really well. And if you go look at Motion's ads, you'll see some of Dara in there, like doing this quite well, in all honesty. So there's a lot of there's a lot of overlap between the ideas that can come to life here. So don't feel like Dara said, like, there's a big opportunity for you. Don't feel boxed in by like, that's B2C. It's not the same. So you got it. Yeah. Dara, you're the best. I sincerely appreciate the time. I'm wondering if you have any final words you want to leave with our audience.
The final words that I want to leave you guys with is like, there is so much opportunity here. I cannot emphasize how much opportunity and how much space there is for great creative strategists to really succeed. Like, I think that this entire event is absolutely a testament to that. But it is my goal to make sure that creative strategists are getting the right opportunities, they're getting the right education, so that we can make some money and really grow these brands. And we are so blessed. This career is so fun. I can't emphasize that. Like, we get to be creative. We get to see the results of our ads, and not many industries can say that. So like, if you feel invigorated by this industry, you are in the right place. Like, I welcome you, and like, you're a part of the family. So that's my message to you guys.
I love it, everybody. Show love in the chat. You have to. Dara, that was absolutely incredible. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you.
Thanks, everyone. Love you guys so much.
The good vibes keep rolling. Everybody, the sessions continue. The next one that we have coming up in a couple minutes, we actually got to get over there, is with Savannah and Jake. We're going to be talking more about the AI categories of who's a maximalist, who's a minimalist, and how does that start to come to life. So Dara's the best, but everyone else, let's go to the next one.
Savannah Sanchez, I can't wait for it. Bye-bye.
Later, everybody. We'll see you soon.
It's time to ship more winning creative with Motion's creative analytics platform that helps you scale winners into unicorns and helps you figure out where your ads might need just a little more help. Join over 2,100 teams shipping winning ads with Motion like Fiori, True Classic, Hexclad, and more. Get a free VIP tour today, and you can see how Motion can help your creative strategists and your media buyers speak the same language.